Welcome to Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful week wherever you are. Whatever you've been up to, welcome to the end of your day, the end of your work day, the end of your evening. And I just invite you to slow it down a little bit, take your shoes off, set your keys and your cell phone aside, even and especially perhaps when we practice at home, we can have the temptation to not disengage, right? Because there's a funny thing that happens when we go to a gym or a yoga studio or a place that is other. We are forced to transition. We're forced to either walk through a parking lot or drive from home, or we're forced to create that physical transition. And so I know that when you're practicing from home, sometimes it's hard to create that trigger point, that physical transition. And so ways that you can do that at home are to practice in a different room, perhaps, than you are used to living and working and connecting with your family members. Maybe you have another room in your house that doesn't get used, and maybe that can be your special apart space for your practice. Other ways you can do this are to incorporate some sensory triggers. So maybe you play some music, light a candle, spray some essential oils, anything that makes you feel like you are starting a new part of your day, because you are. So welcome to a new and different part of your day. Go ahead and be on your back. Just make yourself nice and comfortable. If you would like to have a supported back bend, then maybe you could slip a pillow or a block underneath your shoulder blades. And if you prefer to just be on your back, then that's great too. We are going to begin with a new and different breathing practice. New to me, it might not be new to you, but I learned about it today on a podcast, a breath podcast that I was listening to. If you are curious about this, Andrew Huberman, who's a researcher out of Stanford, does a lot of work with just collecting data around the impact of breath on anxiety reduction and stress release. And what's cool is that it totally backs up what we as yoga practitioners have known for centuries, millennia, actually. And that's really cool and really energizing to see science and research backing up with data, things that humans, the collective world of yoga practitioners have developed for centuries, which is really cool. So one thing that he was talking about, and I've talked about this before, but it bears repeating, is that in our bodies, we have the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system, and you think about them working in tandem with each other. The sympathetic nervous system is what ramps you up. The parasympathetic nervous system is what calms you down. And so throughout the course of the day, the hormones that go charging through our bodies, the experiences we have, the way we move, and also the way we breathe stimulates one or the other. So generally speaking, if you're doing something that's energizing, something that increases your breathing rate, or increases stress hormones moving through your body, that's going to stimulate the sympathetic nervous system. And that has use to it because it allows you to do what needs to be done, to face the challenges of life, to respond to the stressors around you as an energized, aware, and capable and ready life form that you are. But the problem with that is that when you're ready to go to sleep, or when you're ready to calm down, or you're ready to relax, then what you have to do is remove the stimulus on that sympathetic nervous system and instead switch over to the parasympathetic nervous system, which is a little harder to stimulate because it's not something that you stimulate. It's more something that you remove stimulus, right? And so the parasympathetic nervous system is what emerges when you relax, and it's what emerges when you take those long exhales. And now this is where breathing comes in, because there is a circuit, the relaxation that triggers relaxation, that is connected directly to your diaphragm. Okay, so your diaphragm being the muscle that is connected to your inhales and exhales, and it allows those nice deep inhales and exhales to be possible, and that directly stimulates or is connected to the parasympathetic nervous system, which allows you to relax. So I'm going to teach you a breathing practice this evening that specifically has been proven to really stimulate this ability to relax and this ability to down-regulate from the fight or flight response. And it's very simple. I'm going to teach you here in the beginning of our practice, and then I'm also going to cue it over the course of our practice this evening. Because this is a little bit more of a slow practice, I think it relates, and there will be some times when I'll tell you to take that relaxing breath is what we'll call it this evening, all right? And so the relaxing breath is 2 inhales and a long, slow exhale, okay? So I'll unpack it a little bit more. 2 inhales specifically through the nose, a long, slow exhale through the mouth. Now, even more specifically, what that looks and sounds like, if you even just want to hear me do it, it will be so if you want to do it with me, you're going to take a big inhale through the nose and then top it off through the nose, all right? So it doesn't have to be 50-50. It can be 70-30. It can be 90-10. Whatever you do, it's 2 inhales through the nose, 2 quick inhales through the nose, and then a long, slow blowing out breath. Here we go. Let's do 3 together. And now on your own time, on your own pace, take it through 5 more. Maybe you close your eyes. Here we go. 5 relaxing breaths. All right, that's 5 for me. If that's 5 for you, then awesome. Maybe go ahead and you can keep exploring how that feels with those relaxing breaths. Maybe you try lengthening the exhale even more. Or if you want to just let your breath flow through your body passively and naturally, just take a few moments here to maybe notice how your body feels. Maybe you can roll out the wrists, the ankles, point and flex the toes, the ankles. Just kind of mobilize your body organically and naturally, just noticing how you're feeling today in this moment. And then all together, let's take a nice deep breath and a stretch with the arms overhead, point the toes toward the front. And on the exhale, hug both knees to the chest, pick up the head and shoulders, rounding the spine. Inhale to extend, release. Exhale, knees to chest, rounding the spine. Inhale, reach, find that length. Exhale, last time, knees to chest. And then release your arms down by your sides. You might try cactusing your arms, getting a little external rotation in the shoulders. Plant your feet on the earth and have your feet pretty wide on the mat. So about mat width apart, and just start by dropping the knees to the right, to the left. Just a little windshield wiper here with the legs, and we're just rotating the femur heads in their sockets here. Just a reminder to you, I am here making suggestions, and I'm going to demonstrate everything, but as is always the case in any yoga practice with me or with anyone, everything is optional. The first agreement that you make when you come to the mat is that you listen to your body and you meet yourself where you are today, right? And so that's why we're not You're not taking notes on how you did today so that you can beat some sort of personal record tomorrow. That's never the mindset that we take when we approach a yoga practice. We always meet ourselves where we're at today, hoping to stay respectful of our boundaries, challenging when that is appropriate, but also nurturing when that is appropriate. All right, go ahead and hug the knees to the chest one more time. Pick the head and shoulders off the mat and start to maybe roll up and down the length of the spine, up to the neck, down to the tailbone. And by the way, if this is uncomfortable for you, you can always skip this part. And then any way that you would like, maybe you roll to one side, maybe you roll over the ankles, take it into a tabletop position, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. And we'll take it through a few rounds of cat-cow. Inhale as you lengthen the sternum forward. Exhale as you round the spine, tuck the chin to the chest. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And take it through a few more rounds on your own time, on your own pace. And if you want to incorporate a little bit of movement here, sometimes I like to rock forward and back as I take it through a cat-cow, starting to really wake up my glutes, also wake up my forearms, my wrist joints, knowing that at the very least, I'm definitely going to go into at least one downward facing dog today. So maybe start to explore putting some body weight on your palms here. All right, go ahead and bring the knees together, the feet together. Come back onto the tops of the feet. We're not going to spend a lot of time here, but we're going to come back to that relaxing breath. And this time, you've got some options. You might place your hands on your thighs, palms up, or if it's fun to get some physical feedback from your breath here, then place your hands on your belly and let's take 3 of those relaxing breaths together. So double inhale, big blowing exhale. 2 more on your own time. And on the next inhale, sweep the arms overhead, reach for the sky. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Maybe you want to connect that double inhale with this sweeping the arms overhead. That could be fun. Long exhale as you pull it to heart center. Let's do 2 more. And then go ahead and walk the hands back out to tabletop. Curl the toes under, take an inhale. And on the exhale, straighten the legs, lift the hips, take it back to downward facing dog. And start right now with pressing your feet right, left into the earth, bending the knees, pedaling the feet, rock to the right, to the left. This might also be a great opportunity to take some side stretching here. So as you press into one ankle, you might lean into that hip a little bit. All right, so still in downward facing dog, press up onto the balls of your feet and then drop both heels off to the right of your toes. So you're coming onto the edges of your feet. Now bring it back to center and then drop both heels off to the left of your toes. So you're kind of getting a little bit of a stretch in your inner thigh and also your IT band. Bring it back to center. We're going to do one more time each side. Drop the heels off to the right. Bring it back to center. Drop the heels to the left. And bring it back to center. Glance up at the hands and take a lot of steps. So just a couple inches at a time, right, left, do a long, slow march all the way up to the top of the mat or to meet your hands. No rush. And then when you get there, bring the hands to the shins. Have a soft bend in the knees for this first halfway lift. So lengthen the crown of the head forward, active along the upper back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms, reach for the sky. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Let's take it through a half sun salutation here at the top of the mat. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. And just pause here in stillness as you're standing here at the top of your mat. You might keep your hands at heart center, or you can relax your hands down by your sides. Let's take it through 3 more of those relaxing breaths for the double inhale. Inhale. Big blowing exhale. We're going to take it through a long, slow, full sun salutation. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step it back to plank. Lower with control all the way to the mat. Keep the elbows close to the body. Inhale, baby cobra. Just peel the chest and shoulders off the mat. No body weight in the hands. And on the exhale, take it back to downward facing dog. 2 long, slow breaths in downward facing dog. In through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. At the end of that exhale, glance up at the hands and walk your feet forward to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Let's do some side bending here as we're standing at the top of the mat. So have your feet about hip distance apart. Inhale, arms overhead. And then on the exhale, plant your right hand on your right hip. I'm going to mirror you. Exhale, nice long side stretch over to the right. So counterbalance with your hips. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, other side. Support yourself with your hand on your hip here. Inhale, bring it back to center. 1 more time each side. Exhale. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, second side. Remember, we're not twisting, we're just bending. So we're not dropping one shoulder toward the earth. We're staying in this side plane. Inhale, bring it back to center. And this time we're going to twist to your right. Drop your arms in line with the shoulders. Maybe even shift your gaze toward the back of the room. Inhale, back to center, both arms overhead. Exhale, twist to your left. Make sure you also bring your shoulders into this twist. Inhale, bring it back to center. Exhale, first side. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, bring it back to center. And on the exhale, just release your arms down by your sides. And let's take it through a few little right to left movements with your neck. So just drop your ear towards your shoulder, right to left. So as you already know, the neck moves the same way as the spine, right to left, forward, backward, and it rotates. Let's just give it a little extra love today. And then come on back to center and then take it through what you could call some cat-cow movements with the neck. So dropping the chin toward the chest, lifting the chin toward the sky. Now bring it on back to center and let's rotate with the neck, turning your chin over one shoulder, then the other. Some nice organic movements here. Remember to breathe. And if at any point you find just a point in your movement that feels particularly nice or you could use a little extra love, feel free to hang out there, explore that. All right, so come on back to the top of the mat. Let's take it through a few more sun salutations just to keep the blood moving. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, step it back to plank. Follow your breath, lower to the earth. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. 2 long, slow breaths in downward facing dog. If you want to take your relaxing breaths here, that's awesome. At the end of that exhale, glance up at the hands, walk, step, or float your feet, top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. And on the next inhale, we're going to take it right into another sun salutation. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Take it through a flow. Follow your breath. If you prefer chaturanga and upward facing dog, then go there. If you prefer to stick with that low cobra, that is awesome too. Either way, we'll all meet in downward facing dog. See just how much you can lengthen those exhales. Walk, step, or float your feet to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Dancing warrior flow. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step it back to plank. Follow your breath through a flow. Inhale, lift the right leg, lead with the heel. Exhale, step it through next to the right thumb. Back heel stays lifted. Find your balance as you inhale, bring the arms overhead. Elbows are straight, palms are facing each other. Have a soft bend in that back knee and tuck the tailbone under for that stretch in the left hip flexor here. Take one more inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Spin the back heel down. The left leg is straight. The right knee is pointing in the direction of the right toes. And your arms are directly in line with that line that you create from your front heel to the arch of the back foot. Everything's all lined up, everything's stacked. Flip the right palm up, inhale, reach forward. Exhale, reverse warrior gaze goes up. Nice long side bend in that right side waist. Inhale, back to warrior two. Exhale, circle the hands to the earth, step it back to plank, take it through a flow. Two long, slow breaths in downward facing dog. Left side, inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, step it through. Find your balance. Keep the back heel lifted as you inhale for crescent lunge. Elbows are straight, palms facing each other. Now soften the shoulders down and away from the ears. Take one more inhale. And on the exhale, spin the back heel down, warrior two. Once again, glance down at your feet. Your front heel is in line with the arch of the back foot. Back leg is straight. Arms are in line with the shoulders. Again, the shoulders are softened down and away from the ears. Flip the left palm up, inhale, reach forward. Exhale, reverse warrior gaze goes up. The left shoulder leads toward the sky as the right shoulder leads toward the earth. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, circle the hands, step it back to plank, take it through a flow. And all together, go ahead and lower the knees to the earth, bring the big toes to touch, and settle it back to child's pose. So child's pose, as you know, is a resting pose. That's your opportunity to come back to the breath. You could come back to your relaxing breath, that double inhale with the long, slow exhale, or you can just let your breath come and go, inhaling to exhaling as naturally and as effortlessly as you can manage. Anytime you want to slow the breathing rate down, which by the way is connected to the heart rate. Focus on the long, slow exhale. Only when you create space for the inhale can you take in more of that life-giving oxygen. So you have to let go first in order to fill. Child's pose. While we're here in child's pose, let's take a few more moments to turn this into a side stretch. So with your hands on the mat, walk your hands over to the right edge of the mat and maybe park the left hand on top of the right and relax into a nice long side stretch down the left side body. So you should feel this down the lat, the side waist. And then let's walk it back through center and find the other side. Nice long side stretch. Bring it on back to center. And then just right from child's pose, curl the toes under, take an inhale. And on the exhale, straighten the legs, lift the hips. Take it back to downward facing dog. Let's do a couple leg lifts with a twist here. So inhale, lift the right leg, bend the knee, and stack the right hip on top of the left. And really lean into and relax into this little twist in downward facing dog. So you really want to relax the heel toward the earth. See if you can still press into the right palm. And try to maintain an equal amount of weight in your hands, even though only one of your legs obviously is on the earth. All right, go ahead and release that right leg back down to the earth. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Inhale, lift the left leg, bend the knee, stack the left hip on top of right. And again, on this side, try to press into the left hand. And then really lean into that right heel. All right, bring it right back to downward facing dog. Glance up at the hands, walk the feet forward to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Step your feet mat width apart, nice and wide. We're going to keep some body weight off of our shoulders here for a moment. So reach around behind your body, interlace the hands to the degree that you can. And if you can't interlace the hands, then maybe you grab something that you can grab hold of between your two hands, whether it's just a sock or a belt. Any article of clothing honestly works great. It has a little yoga strap here. So if you are, either way, you're interlacing your hands or you're holding on to something, roll the shoulder heads together and down behind you. Take an inhale, and on the exhale, hinge forward and down over the legs. See if you can pull the arms overhead behind you. Breathe into the belly. Even though you're upside down, doesn't mean you get a pass on deep breathing. Pull that breath deep into your belly. All right, bring the hands back to the low back, unclasp them, and then bring the hands around in front of you. Stabilize yourself on the floor, and let's sink into a nice low squat here. So again, your feet are pretty wide, about mat width apart is what I'm doing. So have your heels down on the earth, and if you can't get your heels down, widen your feet even more. So get a really nice wide stance so you can keep your heels down. Your elbows are inside of your knees. Maybe bring your hands to heart center here. We're just going to hang out here in a low squat. And by the way, you can always come out of this for a little break anytime you want. I know spending several breaths in a squat can be a little intense depending on how much time you spend in a squat. Can you implement some of your relaxing breaths here? Maybe let's do 3. Remember to really pull that into your belly. Very nice. Release the hands to the earth. Take an inhale at the bottom of the squat. And on the exhale, straighten the legs, lift the hips. The head goes low, the hips goes high. Inhale back into the bottom of the squat. Exhale into the fold. Inhale to the bottom of the squat. Exhale into the fold. Now you can keep flowing back and forth from squat to fold, or if you want to try taking a little twist here for the upper back, here at the bottom of the squat, plant your left hand on the floor, right about the midline, and then on the inhale, reach the right fingertips up toward the sky and follow your hand with your gaze, so you're looking up too, and really try to sink low into your left knee here. So your left knee is going to drift toward the midline. Press into it with your upper arm. Bring it back to center, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Plant the right hand on the earth. Keep that right knee from drifting inward as you inhale. Reach the left fingertips up toward the sky. Check in with your heels. See if you can keep your heels down here. Both heels toward the earth. Gaze goes up, and then bring it back to center. And just for funsies, let's do one more time each side on your time, on your breath. All right, let's take it out of the squat here. So exhale into that forward fold again, and then heel toe the feet together. Bring the hands to the shins, halfway lift, lengthen the crown of the head forward. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Just notice your body in stillness. Notice the movement that occurs in your body even when you're not moving. The gentle balancing, the movement of your breath, the movement of your pulse. Notice the changes that you've brought about, even in the midst of your practice. Change is happening. On the next inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, take it through a flow. Inhale, lift the right leg. Exhale, step it through. Lower the back knee to the earth. Have the hands on either side of that front foot, and we're going to flow back and forth from this low lunge to a half split here. So starting to get into our hamstrings. So take an inhale, and on the exhale, roll that right leg towards straight and maybe roll the toes toward the sky. You're hinging forward over that front leg as your tailbone points back behind you. Inhale, bring it back forward to the lunge. Exhale into that half split. Move with your breath. And hey, if you want to try that relaxing breath here with the double inhale, I don't really know how that would feel moving into a lunge with the double inhale, but experiment with it. Give it a try. One of the great things about moving with your breath, moving with the inhale and with the exhale, is that it keeps you completely honest, right? If your body is experiencing the need to slow down, you will know because your breath starts to get ragged. You start to hold your breath. Maybe you start to skip a round of breath. Slow it down. Think of your breath as your referee. All right, then on the next inhale, bring that front knee back over the front ankle and bring the arms overhead. On the exhale, bring the hands to heart center and then rotate to your right so that your left knee comes in contact with the right knee. And so you're twisting your belly button towards your inner thigh. And see if you can relax into this stretch, right? It's tempting when we are taking a movement that requires some stability or some tension, it's tempting to distribute that tension throughout the body. But where can you relax? Where can you soften? Where can you release your grip? Perhaps on your jaw or on your toes. On the next inhale, unwind, reach the arms overhead. And on the exhale, hands to the earth. And just take it right back to tabletop. You can take it through a flow if you want. I'm going to skip it and just go right back to tabletop. And maybe take it through a couple rounds of cat-cow. That feels nice. Okay, pick up the left foot, step it forward next to the left thumb, and we're going to take this same sequence from lunge to half split on this side. So take an inhale. Exhale, roll that left leg towards straight, roll the toes toward the sky. And by the way, you don't have to be able to straighten the knee, just go in the direction of straight. If you feel a stretch, you're doing it right. All right, keep going with your own breath. Some days I feel this hamstring stretch more in my hamstring, and sometimes I feel it more in my low back. As long as you are feeling the stretch in a muscle, not a joint, you're doing it right. Generally speaking, you don't want to feel a stretch in a joint because there aren't muscles there. Stretches are for your muscles. Exhale into that hamstring. Inhale into the lunge. And on the next inhale, bring it forward into that lunge. Bring the arms overhead. Find your balance. And on the exhale, twist to your left. Hook the right elbow over that left knee. And with that tension that you're creating, your knee presses into your elbow, pulling you into that twist here for the upper back. Stay for a couple rounds of breath. And on the next inhale, unwind. Exhale, hands to the earth, step it back to plank, take it through a flow, or you can skip it. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. Two long, slow breaths in downward facing dog. Glance up at the hands, walk, step or float your feet top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. We're going to take a little standing back bend here, cactus arms. So just for the upper back here. So I like to step my feet hip distance apart just to have a little bit more support. Inhale, arms overhead. And on the exhale, bend the elbows, draw them alongside the body. Gaze goes up, squeeze the shoulder blades together as though you could draw them toward the ceiling. Inhale, bring it back together, arms overhead. And on the exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Take it through a flow, or you can skip it. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. It's up to you. Inhale, lift the right leg. Exhale, step it through next to the right thumb. Find your balance as you inhale, draw the arms overhead to crescent lunge, and then maintain that balance as you exhale into that cactus back bend for the upper back. Makes it a little challenging to shift your gaze toward the sky. Bring everything back to center, crescent lunge. And on the exhale, hands to heart center, twist over that right leg. And since this is a little bit, since your back knee is lifted, this is a little bit more challenging than the last twist that we did with the knee down. So you always have the option to drop the knee toward the earth, though we are not going to stay here for very long. On the next inhale, unwind back to crescent lunge. Exhale into warrior two, spin the back heel down. All right, so let's get into our inner thighs here. Inhale as you bring the arms overhead, straighten up that front knee. Exhale back into warrior two. Back and forth for a couple breaths. Inhale, arms overhead, straighten up that front knee. Exhale into warrior two. Last time, inhale, arms overhead, straighten up the front knee. And this time, keep the knee straight as you bring the arms in line with the shoulders. Let's take it into triangle pose as you reach the right fingertips forward. And on the exhale, right hand toward the earth, left fingertips toward the sky. So when you're in triangle pose, both legs are straight. And the action with your hips is that you want to draw your tailbone toward the back of the room as you lengthen the crown of the head forward. So you're really sliding your hips out from under you. And with your right hand on the earth or a block or your shin, by the way, you're not dumping a lot of body weight into the hand. You are supporting your upper body with the strong muscles of your back, your core. Take an inhale. And on the exhale, bend the front knee, circle the hands to the earth, step it back to plank. We'll take it through a flow. Maybe take a couple of those relaxing breaths, the double inhale, the long exhale. One of the things I like about having this microphone is that I can breathe right into it, and I'm pretty sure you can hear all my breaths. Inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, step it through next to the left thumb. Inhale for crescent lunge. Let's find that cactus back bend. On the exhale, gaze goes up. Inhale, back to crescent lunge. Bring the ribcage back underneath the shoulders. And on the exhale, hands to heart center as you twist over that left knee. So the right elbow finds the left knee. You'll know you're twisting in the right direction if your belly button is making contact with your inner thigh. Right? I know sometimes it's easy to get turned around in these twists. Find your balance. Relax what you can. On the next inhale, unwind for crescent lunge. Warrior two on the exhale. All right, we're going to flow back and forth, bringing the arms overhead, straightening up that front knee. Inhale. Exhale, back to warrior two. Every time you rebend that front knee, it's moving in this groove towards your toes here, right? And so the knee is pointing directly in the direction of your toes. It's not drifting inward. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, warrior two. Last time, inhale, arms overhead. Keep both legs straight. And on the exhale, arms are in line with shoulders. Reach the left fingertips forward. And on the exhale, triangle pose. So if you, for some reason, have a mirror or you are practicing near someone that can give you some visual feedback, the idea is that you want your arms perpendicular to the floor, right? And so your wrist, your shoulder, and your wrist are all stacked in one straight line. So maybe take a peek. If you are practicing with someone, maybe take a peek at your neighbor and let them know. In triangle pose, both legs are straight. Take an inhale. And on the exhale, rebend that front knee as you circle the hand to the earth, step it back to plank, take it through a flow. Go ahead and lower the knees to the earth. Have a seat on your heels. Back to a little hero's pose here. And let's take it through 3 rounds of that relaxing breath here. I'm just going to release my hands down onto my thighs here. So you can rest your hands wherever is comfortable for you. On your own time, on your own breath. Go ahead and bring the legs around in front of you. Let's start with our right leg out straight, left is bent. I'm gonna take it through one more hamstring stretch. So inhale, arms overhead, square the shoulders over the right leg, and on the exhale, hinge forward and down over that right leg. Reach for the toes, but you might also get your ankle, your pant leg, whatever you can reach. And the idea is that your knee is straight. Once again, relax what you can. Okay, go ahead and slowly press back up out of it, but rather than just switching into the other side, we're going to turn this into a little back bend, side bendy sort of thing. So take your left hand, plant it behind your tailbone, reach your right fingertips toward the sky and lift the hips, drop the head back, maybe even reach back behind you. Turn this into the back bend, the side bend that would feel really nice for you today. And then slowly have a seat. And now let's switch legs. So have the left leg out straight, right is bent. Inhale, arms overhead. Square the shoulders over the left leg. Exhale, hinge forward and down over the left leg. It is not uncommon to have differences in flexibility or strength between your two sides. But having said that, that's one of the nice things about a yoga practice. And the reason we hold a particular stretch for an equal amount of time on the right as on the left, because the idea is to someday correct those imbalances with time. The goal is always to build strength and flexibility equally between your two sides so that we don't injure ourselves. All right, and then let's come on out of it and turn this into the same back side bend. So pick up your right hand, plant it behind your tailbone, reach the left fingertips up toward the sky, and then lift the hips, drop the head back, reach the arm back behind you. Find a little back side bend that works on this side. All right, go ahead and lower down onto the mat. Lie down on your back. We're going to take a twist here. So start by just hugging both knees to the chest and gently roll side to side, massaging the muscles along the spine. And then just keep hold of your right knee. Relax the left knee down onto the earth. Take an inhale. And on the exhale, draw that right leg across the body to the left as your gaze goes out to the right. Make any adjustments that you need to stay aligned and centered here. So I find that I kind of have to scooch my shoulders a little bit to the left. So as is the case with many of our floor stretching, our longer holds, periodically just scan the body again. Notice where you can surrender. Notice where you can relax into the earth. Notice where you might be retaining a little bit of discomfort, or you can Make this an easier, a less effortful sort of pose. Go ahead and bring it back to center. And before we just go right into it on the other side, let's neutralize a little bit by windshield wipering our legs. So step the feet pretty wide on the mat and drop the knees to the right, to the left. Take a couple nice, long, slow breaths here, paying particular attention to the exhale. Release the right leg down onto the earth. Hug the left knee to the chest. Take an inhale. And on the exhale, draw that leg across the body to the right as your gaze goes out to the left. And slowly unwind it back to center. And the next pose is your resting pose. So if there are any other final little wiggles or stretches or movements that you would like to take before you move into a pose of stillness, then go ahead and go there. But ultimately, do find a pose that is relaxing, that allows you to close your eyes, that allows you to breathe without trying, allows you to rest without trying. Shavasana. And slowly begin to reawaken the body. Wiggle the fingers, the toes, roll out the wrists, the ankles. Then reach the arms overhead toward the back. Point the toes toward the front. Take a deep breath and a full body stretch from fingers to toes and everything in between. And on the exhale, roll over to the right side. And when you are ready, make your way back up to a comfortable seated position, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe you want to cross your legs. Maybe you want to come up to a kneeling position. It all works. Just close your eyes when you get there. Lightly rest your hands on your knees. Relax the jaw, relax the shoulders, relax the ears, relax the fingertips. And let's take it through 3 of those relaxing breaths together on your own time, on your own pace, with the double inhale, the long exhale. Notice the changes that you've brought about as a result of your practice. These are changes that are always available to you because it occurs in your breath and in your movement and in your mind. It doesn't take any special equipment. It just takes time and attention. On the next inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Thank you for allowing me to guide you through your practice. Have a beautiful evening. Namaste.